What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to the channel. As you can tell, we're in a little bit of a different setup. I'm not in studio right now. I couldn't get back to the studio for a while yet, so I just thought, why not just give you my flash open spoiler discussion thoughts right now while I can, so I can post it on the channel ASAP for you guys to hear my spoiler thoughts on. So let's just get on into it right now. What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to the channel. My name is Tyson, and we are here to talk about movies, specifically the Flash movie, but we also do other movie reviews, trailer reactions, we cover major movie news, we do movie rankings, all that and more. So if you like that kind of stuff, please stick around, subscribe to the channel, as we are on the way to 1,000 subscribers, and I would love to have you guys along for that journey. All right, with that done and out of the way, let's just dive on into the Flash spoilers. Let's just get into it. The cameos. George frickin' Clooney is in this movie. He's in the end of this movie, coming out as Bruce Wayne. I lost it when I saw that. I was like, out of all of the actors who have played Batman, he is the one who I least expected to be in this movie. And when he was in it, man, I completely loved it. I lost it, and I thought that was super, super cool. So by far, one of my favorite surprise and my favorite cameo in this movie was George Clooney. Of course, when the kind of like universes are colliding with each other, or I guess the worlds are colliding with each other, we see Nicolas Cage as Superman. We see, of course, the amazing Christopher Reeves, as well as past iterations of Batman as well. And I loved all the cameos. I really did. I don't know why necessarily those are getting some flack. I thought it was great. Great little cameos in there. Nothing nothing changed the movie because of the cameos. So I don't think it was a negative point of the movie at all. But when I saw Nicolas Cage in there, I was like, wow. Because I knew why he's in there is because he was auditioning for the role of Superman. Obviously, he was never Superman, but because he was auditioning for it, I guess fans loved him, and so they decided to put him in here as a quick cameo, and I absolutely support that and thought that was a great idea. So that was cool to see. But besides that, my favorite part of this movie is still Michael Keaton as Batman and Sasha K, as Supergirl. I think she is brilliant in here. I wish we got more of her, and I wish we would get more of her in the future. Unfortunately, I don't think that's going to happen, but I loved everything with her character, and I loved how the Flash could never save Supergirl and Batman from the Krypton battle on Earth. No matter how many times he tried, that's when he realized that it was a constant loop and nothing would change. It needed to happen. And that is obviously when both of the Barry Allens kind of became enemies, per se, because the younger one wanted to keep going so he could save the universe, so he could save his mom there. Unfortunately, the our Barry from our universe, he realized that, no, this can't happen. I gotta fix what I did. We gotta stop it. And that is, of course, where like the third act kind of begins, and where I very, very much dislike this movie. I think the third act was pretty bad. That's where the movie really did plateau for me, and I don't really enjoy it at all. The whole villain thing of like Dark Flash or whatever his name is, that was just completely wasted. He was in there for like 5-10 minutes max, and I think that was just very anticlimactic, and how they did that was just, well, it was just weak. It was just a weak villain, a weak third act, a weak way to end this movie. So definitely not a fan of that. I didn't really like the Speed Force and how that was done, how Barry was shown running. Not the biggest fan of that either, and I think a lot of that is to do with the CGI. A lot of people are complaining about it. I know Andy Muschietti just came out recently and said that, you know, it's a stylistic choice. It's because we're seeing it from the Flash's perspective. But I think he thinks we're talking about like when Flash is running and changing time and everything, you see everything in like that circle and it just keeps falling down when he's changing it. But that's fine. That I didn't have a problem with, the CGI. I was talking about everything basically else in the movie. The action scenes, especially the one on Earth with the Krypton with Zod and his right-hand woman, that was awful. That CGI was so bad. And the deep fake, or however they did it with two Barrys being side by side, I thought that wasn't well done all the time either. And you could see where the backdrop was a backdrop or where it was a green screen. You could see that for some of the film, and that just didn't really work for me at all. So that was a huge thing. The CGI is a problem for me because it took me out of the movie. When a CGI is that bad, that's how I know that it's kind of bad for, well, everyone, and a lot of people are complaining about that. Let's get into some of the elements I really liked. Like I said, Michael Keaton here is fantastic. I absolutely love his storyline, and I love the pasta or the spaghetti way of explaining how time works, and how going back in time can change the events of the past and all, or the future and all that. That was explained like beautifully, and I thought that was very, very well done. So that explanation was great. Michael Keaton, I love how he was like an old like man, like with the hair all the way down. Not at all how I expected him to look, but he still kicked older Barry's butt for sure. So that was cool to see. Very comedic too. I really did like the emotion in here. I thought that was done very well. Obviously, Barry is dealing with a lot. His dad is in jail for a crime he did not commit, which is, killing his own mom. That's hard for anybody. And it was really hard for Barry, and I'm glad we got to see that. I did think that was portrayed beautifully in this film, and I liked how that is the main reason why Barry wanted to go back in time to save his mom and ultimately save his dad as well. And he did what anybody, I think, in that situation would do. He tried to save his parents. And I think that is very beautiful, very great story arc for his character for sure. And I love the dynamic with the mom. I forget the actress's name, but I think she played this beautifully. I mean, with the tomato scene when he has to when he realizes he has to go back and change it how it was, and he has to put the tomato can, he has to take it out of her cart and put it back on the shelf. I mean, that was just gut-wrenching, and him giving her a hug in that whole scene, telling her how much he appreciates her and loves her. I mean, just so emotional and powerful by far. And then, of course, that is where he realized if he moved the tomato cans higher, then his face would be caught on the security camera, which ultimately did end up saving him at the end of this movie. And going back to the end here, I did not really know until a couple days ago this is actually what happened and why Bruce was George Clooney and not Ben Affleck. So our Flash is not in the same universe he was at the start of this movie, even though we're kind of meant to believe he was. And that's because I believe of when he got out of the Speed Force, or when he changed the tomato cans, he just got dumped into another universe. I'm still not 100% sure on how that works, so if you guys know, please let me know down below, like, how that's all supposed to happen. But because of how this movie ended, it does further that none of this will be carrying over to the new DCU. None of these storylines will be happening, and everyone in this movie is done. It's just a one-shot movie, and that's it. Nothing is being carried over. The post-credit scene for me was kind of a little weird with Aquaman there. Yeah, I don't know. I just didn't really get that. So that was kind of just a waste, but I get why they did it, because there is nothing that can lead into anything since they're rebooting everything. Speaking of the reboot, I want to get into the reboot now. This movie flopped hard opening weekend. I think it only made $55 million. I did not expect this to be making a lot of money, but I expected it to maybe hit like 65 to 70. It underperformed so much. This movie will ultimately be a flop, and it's an expensive movie. With all the reshoots they had to do, I think they have to get like 300 million plus to break even. I don't know. I really don't. I don't think that this movie is going to be a success that Warner Brothers was like hoping for. And I think a lot of that is because they hyped it up so much with being one of the best comic book movies of all time. Some even said one of the best movies of all time. And then when everybody got to see it, I don't think a lot of people feel that way about this movie. I may be wrong, but from everybody that I know that's seen it, from other people on YouTube that have been talking about this movie, none of them think it's one of the best comic book movies of all time. So I do think it was really overhyped, which ultimately hurt the movie. But obviously the controversy with this movie as well. I'm not going to speak on that here. I've already spoken on it with my DC ranking video and my review originally. So you can go check out my thoughts on that if you want to. But so those things definitely hurted it. But because of how bad this performed, it just further explains why James Gunn needs to reboot this franchise. And I'm glad they're doing it. It's the right move. Everyone is done with DC. And it's not because all DC movies have been bad. I don't believe that. They have been not as good as audiences I think wanted them to be. But I think with James Gunn at the helm, I think that will switch around. I really do. I believe in James Gunn. I trust his vision. I think Superman Legacy is going to be great, but it's not going to just take one film to make everybody like the DCU universe. I think it's going to take, because you guys watching this and me and a lot of other people on YouTube who talk about this kind of movie stuff, we're not the normal audience members. You know, we're the huge fan base that is loyal to all this comic book lore and everything like that, who know so much about it. The normal movie going audience doesn't know that. So they don't know that like the DCU is getting rebooted. They don't know about James Gunn taking all this over. They don't know that The Flash may be like one of the last movies to be connected to the Snyderverse. They don't know that, you know? So it's going to take them, who contribute most of the box office money, I think it's going to take them 1 to 3 movies to kind of have DC be the success that I think it's going to be. And because I think they're going in the right directions, the projects that James Gunn announced, I am behind. I think they're going to be great. So I'm glad it's getting rebooted. All right. So that's my thoughts on that. But overall, guys, my score on The Flash does go from a 6.5 out of 10 down to a 6 out of 10. And those are my spoiler thoughts. Quick video. Let me know what you guys think about The Flash. All spoilerness down below. And what do you think about it underperforming at the box office? Are you surprised? Are you not? Let me know all your thoughts down below. Until next time, guys, I'm Tyson Honaker. You'll see me in a different location. I'll be back in studio. Next video is coming out. It's going to be a Pixar ranking, including Elemental, so make sure to stay tuned for that. And go check out my DC EU ranking right now, which includes The Flash as well. All right, I'll talk to you guys later.